Okay, good evening, and welcome to the Planning Commissioners of July 28, 2020. It is 7:04, and I just want to say that due to COVID-19, we're trying to figure it out, and this is our first time since COVID-19 shut down since March 4th that we're doing a live Zoom. So if you have any questions, if you want to participate, whether email to the city clerks before 6:30, I believe, and also city clerk's email is city, C-I-T-Y, clerk, C-L-E-R-K @westcovina.org. So, and also the calendars is online. So in lieu of attending, please contact city clerk, and you can also attend as well. Regarding public comments addressing the commissioners, any person wishing to address the Planning Commission on any matter listed on the agenda or any other matter within their jurisdiction is asked to complete a speaker card, but we're not going to have a speaker card, so just contact our city clerk. Like I said, cityclerk@westcovina.org. So we're going to have a moment of silence plus prayer, meditations, and then we have a pledge of allegiance, and then we'll do roll calls. So can you please join me for a moment of silence? Not sure how we're going to do the with Zoom, so I guess we're going to stand. Not sure if this is going to stretch long enough. Okay, so we have a few minutes of silence. And join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, and justice for all.
And justice for all.
We're going to go for the approval of minutes. We're going to have roll call first. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, Commissioner Holtz. Can you hear me? Yes. Commissioner Jaquez.
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Here.
Commissioner Redholz.
I'm here on the phone.
And Chair Hing.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And next is
Good evening. This is Assistant City Clerk Lisa Sherrick. If you can give us a few minutes.
Hello, can you hear me? Wonderful. Seeing none, okay. Does anyone have any changes to the minutes of June 24, 2020? Seeing none, the minutes of June 24, 2020 are approved as submitted. For public hearings, the conditional use, we have 3 items tonight. We have a conditional use permit for a house on 2043 East Norman Avenue. The second item is we have
There's
90
no oral communication?
901. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm just going to go through the agendas and then we have oral communications. So item number 2 is basically 901 North Sunset Avenue. And the third item that we're going to have is a study session, which will affect the city-wide. It's a design guidelines for wireless telecommunication facilities in the public right-of-way. And we have begin our oral communications. This is the time when any member of the public may speak to the commission on any matter within the scope of duties assigned to the commission relating to non-agendized or consent calendar items. Other matters included on this agenda may be addressed when that item is under consideration. For all oral communications, the chairpersons may impose reasonable limitations on public comments to ensure an orderly and timely meeting. The Brown Act limits the planning commission's and staff's ability to respond to public comments at this meeting. Those your comments may be agendized for future meetings or refers to staff. The commission may ask questions for clarification if desired at this time. By policy of the commission, oral communication at this time on the agenda is limited to a total of 15 minutes. Person who are not afforded the opportunities to speak at this time may do so under continuation of oral communication later on the agenda. So, City Clerk, I'm not sure how we're going to have oral communication when.
Good evening, Chair. This is Assistant City Clerk Lisa Sherrick. I received no communication from the public regarding this agenda.
Okay, all right. Then we'll continue to public hearing. Number 2, conditional use permit number 20-06, category exempt. Application is Covina Martinez. Location is 2043 East Normal Avenue. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit, which is a CUP, to allow for the constructions of a 1381 square foot first floor addition, including 645 square foot garage, a 1420 square foot second story addition, and a 24 square foot entry porch to the existing 900 square foot single family residence. So the proposed house will have a total floor area of 3,711 square foot. And who will present? This particular. Okay, go ahead.
Our assistant planner, Renee Aguilar, will be presenting. Right now, the presentation is we're still working on putting the presentation up, so it's going to be shared on Zoom.
Okay. All right. Almost there. All right. Okay. Good evening, Chair and fellow planning commissioners. Tonight I will be presenting conditional use permit number 20-06. The applicant is requesting the approval of a conditional use permit to allow for the construction of a 2-story residence in a 1-story neighborhood. Due to the excessive mass and bulk presented by the proposed house in relation to the size of homes within the neighborhood, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission continue the public hearing to a date uncertain to allow the applicant time to redesign the project to make it more compatible with the neighborhood. In addition, at the meeting on July 14th, Subcommittee for Design Review, both Commissioners Jaquez and Redholz felt that the design and the size of the proposed house is not compatible with the single-story neighborhood. The subject site is surrounded by single-family residential to the south and east and west, To the north is the Audi West Covina dealership. Just a couple of notes. Currently, the existing house is 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. The existing size of the house is 1,111 square feet, and it was built in 1954. And this is a current photo of the existing house that was taken yesterday. Here's a site plan for the proposed 2-story. In blue, we have the overlay of where the 2nd story will be situated. First floor addition of 1,381 square feet for a total of 2,281 square feet on the first floor. This includes a 3-car garage. Second floor addition of 1,430 square feet, plus a front entry porch of 24 square feet for a total of 3,711 square feet of a 2-story proposed house. Here is the first floor floor plan. In green, we have here the dining room, the kitchen, and the great room. In yellow here, we have the 3-car garage. In red is the bedroom with its closet and its own bathroom, including the shower. And then in blue, we do have the common area, another bathroom, and the staircase leading up to the 2nd floor. Lastly, we do have in purple the entry porch of 24 square feet. Moving on to the 2nd floor. The first thing we see there is the bedroom. In yellow, we have the master bedroom. In green, we have a common bathroom. In another blue, we have another bedroom. And in yellow, we have the hallway with that staircase. Here we have the 5th bedroom in blue. And lastly, in green, we have the laundry room. Next, I'm going to show the elevations and a 3D model, and then I will reference back to staff recommendations. So here we have the south elevation and the west elevation. As you can see, the south elevation is the front entrance of the house. West elevation is the side. North here would be the rear elevation, and the east elevation. Now, I'm going to cover 5 planning staff recommendations for a more compatible home within the existing neighborhood. Number 1 would be to make the window shutters wider and add a window shutter to the window. Let's see if I can point that out. If you, can you guys see my, There is a window that is directly above the porch where the front door is a little to the left, where we would recommend that a window shutter be placed there. And then in addition to that, we'd ask that all windows should have mullions. Number 2 would be to drop the plate height to 8 feet, which would reduce the overall height of the structure by 2 feet. Number 3 would be to redesign that front entry porch, perhaps bring it down a little lower. Break up the massing and add more modulation on both sides of the proposed 2-story. And then the last one, number 5, would be, as of right now, more than 50% of the front consists of the garage. The floor plan should be revised so that it is expanded on the sides. Moving forward, here is a 3D model of the home. As you can see, the front porch looks a little high, so we are asking that that is reduced down in height. Add the window shutters to the window on that, and then, as I mentioned, add some braking on the sides, some modulation, and then the plate height. Now, as you can see, the proposed house is designed in a minimal traditional style architecture with ranch style elements, and will feature a combination of a hipped and gabled roof with red shingles and stucco on all elevations. In addition to that, stacked brick veneer along the front elevation and the window with shutters as discussed. Here are some photos of the homes within that area. On the top, we have the neighbor to the right, which would be to the east. In the middle, we have the neighbor to the left, which would be on the west side. And then across the street, we have the neighbor, on the bottom, we have the neighbor across the street. Staff did conduct a survey of 21 homes within 300 feet from the project site to determine how the size of the proposed home compares to the size of the existing homes within the neighborhood. As you can see, the median size of the homes with the survey area is 1,137 square feet, and the proposed floor area of the subject property is 49%. The proposed house would be 2,035 square feet larger than the average of the surveyed surrounding homes. More specifically, the home would be 3.26 times larger than the average surrounding home. Within the 300-foot radius, 53 owners and occupants were notified. The applicant did obtain some signatures in support for their project, and planning staff did receive a letter of concern. Both the signatures in support for the project and the letter of concern were emailed to the planning commissioners. And again, staff recommendation, due to the excessive mass and bulk presented by the proposed house, planning staff recommends that the applicant redesign to make the project more compatible with the neighborhood. That concludes my presentation. If you guys have any questions, I'm available. Thank you.
Chairman Hing, this is Commissioner Redholz. I have a question for staff.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Renee,
Yes.
is the applicant amenable to making changes to the proposal?
Yes, I've connected with the homeowner and the designer, and they are both open to changes. Yes. Now,
Okay.
they did want to present this design forward tonight and get the comments from the planning commission just to help with the design of the home to create a more suitable proposal for the neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone else has questions for our staff?
Through the chair, this is Assistant City Clerk. If I may, I just want to give the people on the line an opportunity to unmute themselves if there is a comment they want to provide on the comment. I'm not sure if the applicant is online.
Okay, so we open public hearing.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, this is your city attorney for tonight. It'd be appropriate to ask the applicant if they wish to speak, if they're on the line.
Okay. Covina Martinez, are you on the line, or is there an architect on the line for this project?
I did send instructions to them via email. And I followed up too, and they said they had gotten instructions, but I never confirmed if they were online or not, given the fact that I'm not in my office.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So this is new to us since we're doing. Okay, so we're trying to figure it out as well. So I guess for now we don't hear or don't know if the applicant has called in, but they do have the information to contact us, so to call in for the meeting. So should I open? We'll open this up to public hearing, and just in case if the owners, decided to, or later on called in, then we can just have them talk at that time. Also, I'm going to go out of order a little bit, but go ahead. Is there anyone?
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Redholz.
Oh,
Do we have anyone available to speak in favor of this or against it?
it's really difficult. Do we have any that you received via email, City Clerk?
No email was received, Chair.
I did.
At this time, is there anybody on the line who wishes to speak on this item?
That's our city attorney. Is there anyone on the line currently? City clerk? No?
No one has identified themselves as wanting to speak on this item.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is very
Ma-
new, so I am trying to ask who do we talk to or who's getting the phone calls. So I'm not quite sure. I believe it's going to go into city clerk, so I will be asking her to see if she get any calls or someone has emails or what have you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is Commissioner Redholz. I was going to say, since we are on, there's no one who has submitted a request to speak on this, and we have we have no applicant that we can ask questions of at this point, and we have a recommendation by staff to continue the item to a date uncertain. I will go ahead and make that motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So we'll do roll call.
Before
We have a
this is
motion.
Commissioner Jaquez.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I think before going to a motion, I'd like to have opportunity for discussion amongst commission members on this item. And a concern that I have, maybe another commissioner has a similar concern, but I understand the staff recommendations and what was discussed with the applicant. I personally believe that the recommendations don't go far enough in so much as that it still permits, it would still, allow the applicant to bring back a proposal that would put a second story on this house. And I am not personally in favor of adding a second story to a house in a neighborhood that is overwhelmingly a neighborhood of single story homes. The bulk and massiveness issue that was noted in this item is primarily due to the fact that it involves adding a second story to this house. So I would want to offer a motion to direct the applicant to come back with an alternate design that does not include the second story. And that would be my motion.
Hey, I'll second that motion. This is Redholz. I'll second it.
Okay. So we have a. Well, do we?
Are you going to go with Drake or Bird, or do we do both?
I think that particular area, if we're having a discussions about this, is I'm not sure. Most of the houses over there do not seems to have a roof.
It's off, so it's
Really, one story. I mean, it does have a roof, but it's flat roof, so it makes the whole area very, very low in terms of development. Now, if we want to keep the area the way it was built in the 1950 or so, and we, I'm not sure, to continue that type of styles, or do we want to bring it up to modern how and what the owner wants? Basically, is to update it, enlarge it. I mean, yes, for that particular area, the average house is 1,100 under 1,200 square foot. However, to today's standards, a normal size house is no longer 1,100 or 1,200 square foot. And if our code, because I'm not sure, because even the heights you were asking them to lower for an 8-foot height wall. What is there like a minimum or maximum heights for our city code for a second story?
It will allow for a 25-foot home in an R1 in area districts, in all of our area districts.
Okay.
The
So they can
proposal,
go. In the proposal, are they maxing out 25?
They're at 24 feet and 3 inches. Now, we as planning staff did ask to reduce the plate height of the first floor and the second floor, 1 foot on each. So from 24 feet and 3 inches, we'd bring it down to 22 feet and 3 inches.
So basically, we're asking the new owners to build a house that were similar heights to the 1950s, versus today's standards, it's more 9-foot heights or 10 foot. Is that, I mean, in general, if you were to go into the existing area where the existing house, the current height is probably 8 foot?
Yes. We're just asking them to bring it down to, again, create a less bulkier and mass home within the area. More specifically, as far as square footage, we are asking them to reduce the home to what they're proposing right now is 3,700. We'd ask that they bring it down to 3,200, and that exact number is 3,270, which would request that they reduce it by 411 square feet.
Okay. Commissioner Kennedy?
We have two motions on the floor.
So you do have two motions on the floor. The second motion would be a substitute motion that would be voted on first. But what I'm hearing from staff, for further clarification as you consider this motion, is that it seems that from staff's position, there's a way per the code to allow for a second story as well as meeting all the development guidelines. That may be completely permissible per code.
Okay.
Through the chair, if I may.
Go ahead, Joanne.
Okay. There are conditional use permit findings, and also if it's going to be reduced to an AUP, there are AUP findings that the Planning Commission would have to make in order to approve, or if they can't make the findings, deny a second floor or proposed second floor. If the Planning Commission cannot make any of these findings or cannot make one of these findings, then the Planning Commission should vote to deny the project. And if the Planning Commission is not able to make some of the findings because of their thoughts on the project, it's best if the Planning Commission identify which findings that they cannot make in order for us to better prepare a resolution.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to hear what you're trying to say to me, but it's really echoing. I feel like a few voices is talking at the same time.
Sorry, I think
This is Commissioner Redholz. Is the applicant willing to bring back a design that could be more acceptable? Because what's in front of us, I don't believe is acceptable at all.
I think he's addressing you, Gina.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Repeat that, please.
I heard echo. What was the question?
No, I was asking you to repeat that. We have a hard time hearing.
Oh, I am saying that is the applicant, I can't approve what's in front of me at all. So, it's totally out of character with that neighborhood. And, it's just too big. It's too bulky. The mass is too much. It's too big. Is the applicant willing to bring back a design that is more acceptable and apropos in keeping with the long established neighborhood that's there? Because I cannot approve what's in front of me at all.
Yes, they are willing to redesign a two-story home with the guidance of your comments.
I'm not hearing at all.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. The applicant is open to change the design with the guidance of the Planning Commission with comments. He is willing to redesign, but now I'm hearing that you guys want to make a motion to not approve a second story whatsoever. So we do, like Joanne was saying, if we do want to go that route, we do have to figure out which findings those are so we can create a resolution. We can't just say that they can't have a two-story home without making the proper findings, or at least identifying those findings that can't be made.
Okay, well, you
So
know
I
what?
guess
I'm willing to make a
one, we're
motion
hearing
to.
that the house is too large. That's one issue. The other one is second story. Should we talk about the second story first? Do we want to allow the second stories and then have them fix the mass size and work with staff on that portion? What do you think, commissioners?
This is Commissioner Redholz. I'm willing to continue this item to give them an opportunity to come up with a more acceptable, in my view, proposal that would be more in tune with the, with the neighborhood now. I mean, I'm not totally opposed to a second story, but I am completely not supportive of what's in front of us tonight because of the bulk and the mass. I mean, it's completely out of character for that neighborhood. If they could come back with a proposal that is more amenable to that long-established neighborhood, I'm not saying they need to build a 1950s house. I'm saying they need to design a house that would fit into it better. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, obviously, but there are designs that could be made that would be not as massive as this and be completely out of character with the neighborhood. So I'm willing to continue it to give them an opportunity to come back with a design that, I'm not opposed to a two-story as long as it's not overwhelming, such as the one in front of us tonight. There are ways to do that.
Okay.
So that's why, I'm in favor of a continuance to allow them to come back, to a date uncertain, to, give them plenty of time, come back and have a design that is, more amenable to the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay. Glenn, what are your thoughts?
Chair, Assistant City Clerk Lisa Sherrick, I have a note that the applicant is on the line. If you can give me a second to allow him to come into the meeting.
Okay, go ahead. We're waiting for the owner. I think she's on the line. I was trying to get on. Thank you.
Does it start with the 213? Chair Hang, while we're trying to get the applicant on the phone, I do want to, if you guys can hear me, I do want to state that, if we do want to have the applicant redesign, we should suggest some concrete suggestions about how much square footage should be reduced, what you guys feel would be best. I know Commissioner Jaquez has a problem with the size. Perhaps if he voices how much he feels should be reduced, as I recommended, 3,000 270 square feet. The original design, 3,700. Again, let's provide some concrete suggestions so that the next time he comes back, it's what you guys had asked for, and he's not just guessing what you guys want.
Okay.
I believe that, yeah, so.
Chair and Commissioners, before you say anything, when the applicant is ready, we should allow the applicant to say whatever they wish to say before you engage in any further dialogue. Okay, I guess you can't hear me and I can't hear you either. When the applicant is ready and on board to speak, please allow the applicant an opportunity to say whatever they wish to say before you engage with the applicant and ask any questions or have any further discussion.
Through the chair, we have the applicant on the phone. We're giving him the Zoom contact information. Mr. Juan Sunchin?
Yeah, this is his neighbor. I'm here with the owner of the property.
Sure. The applicant can speak.
¿Quiere hablar?
Can you hear me?
Picture's frozen.
Good evening. This is Assistant City Clerk Lisa Sherrick. Mr. Sunchin, are you there? Juan? Mr. Martinez? Mr. Martinez, are you on the line? Your phone is muted. If you could unmute your phone. There you go.
There it is.
There you go.
All right, there we go. Is there a way I can translate for him?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. ¿Qué les quiere decir?
Pues nada más que estoy de acuerdo con los cambios.
Okay.
Pues me van a dejar hacer lo del segundo piso.
That because he's been hearing you guys through YouTube, so and I've been translating for him. So he says he's in agreement with the changes that you want him to make, and for him to get the approval on the second story home.
I didn't hear that. What was that?
The staff or commissioners has any questions for the owners?
I think your mic is off.
Does the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
Well, this is Commissioner Redholz. He said he's in agreement, but I don't know what he's in agreement with.
He's been hearing you guys out.
Staff recommendations?
Yeah, he's in agreement with the changes that you guys want him to make it work where he can build his second story home. So depending on the recommendations that you guys are willing to work to work with, he's willing to make that change. So on the second hearing, you know, he can have and represent a second planning to the requirements that are you guys are asking for approval.
Okay.
Is that an agreement that all staff recommend?
Are you on mute?
I think your mic is off, Sheena.
I can't hear the chair at all. Is your mic on?
Mic is on.
No pueden.
Okay. Can you hear? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
much better. Where are we? I'm asking our commissioners to see if we're agreeing with what staff is recommending.
I still have, this is
So,
Commissioner Hawkins. I would still like to ask the applicant his thoughts about what I've already said earlier in this meeting about not wanting to see this proposal include a second story. How does he feel about that? Would he be willing to redesign the project to not include a second story?
De hacer un diseño, pero sin el segundo piso. ¿Qué piensa usted de eso? He's saying that he doesn't agree with that. He still wants to continue with his second story.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have any?
Can Commissioner Kennedy here, can he reduce it 30% maybe? Total size?
El 30% del tamaño que está pidiendo. How many feet would it be on the 30% to reduce?
Well, I think it's just too big. We need to just slim it down some. I just think that maybe 25%. I'm willing to negotiate something.
Está él de acuerdo para negociar algo.
May I?
Go ahead. Renee?
I'd like to ask if our planning staff recommendation of reducing the house by 441 square feet, if the commissioners are on board for that. If not, we can disregard that and move on to something different. But again, just reminder, we need to get all the commissioners on board. So I'm going to start by asking if 441 square feet is appropriate. If you guys don't, then we can disregard that and move into another number.
This is Commissioner Redholz. I have a question.
Yes.
You're talking about that the home could be reduced so that it is no more than 25% greater than the maximum unit size for the lot. Now that 25%, does that fit into the 440 square feet you're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm, yes.
Okay.
I guess I'm okay with staff recommendations, and we can ask other commissioners to see if that is something that we would.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Jaquez. I think for everybody's clarification, when it comes to this number of 441 square feet, that if there were to be some compromise about reducing the size and massiveness of a second story, the appearance of the massiveness really, in my mind, or in my opinion, has a lot to do with that second story that is second story space that is that appears at the front of the house or the proposed second story. And so this 441 suite we're talking about is essentially the that area in the proposed floor plan for the second floor of that front bedroom on the second story. Essentially that area and the other adjoining, the other area next to it in the front. That would essentially take that second story and push it back.
Yeah, exactly.
That, I think that combined with the staff recommendations of lowering the plate heights would go a long ways that where I would feel would be a fair compromise. And not create a new home that is so overwhelmingly massive and out of character with the rest of the neighborhood. I'm not entirely favorable to the idea of adding second stories on homes in this neighborhood. But I see this as a compromise that will allow them to have some second story space. And so I would ask my fellow commissioners if that square footage that we talked about being that essentially the removal of that front room and setting the face of the second story back, in addition to lowering the plate heights, would be we would agree to as a recommendation to this applicant.
So Commissioner Hocas, I'd like to clarify this. So you're okay with the house with the exceptions of the front room. You want to push it back. If they push the front room back, you'll be okay with that?
If they can push it back, or if it involves the elimination of that room, the recommendation was to reduce the square footage by some 441 square feet, give or take. However, that's accomplished. The one thing that really, creates an imposition on the view of this home from is the face of that second story, that second floor. And I would like to see that set back. Whether that results in a reduction in square footage or not.
So Commissioner Hocas, what I'm hearing you is that you're saying the front bedrooms being pushed back. Would you be okay if they were to leave the footprint the same? You okay with that?
Which footprint?
Or do you want both? One, to push the front bedroom back. And two, you also want to reduce what staff is recommending? Or is the massness that you see in that front portage, the front rooms being pushed back, and that mass would eliminate that for you?
Okay, if that room can be pushed back, and if it doesn't result in reducing square footage, means of redesigning the layout, that's fine.
That's fine.
But if it requires reducing square footage, either way, that could be accomplished.
So we're just asking owner to see if they're willing to work with staff, Renee, to
I personally don't think you're going to be able to accomplish without reducing square footage. But right now we have,
Commissioner Hocas, can you repeat that again?
Yeah,
sorry.
I personally don't think you can accomplish pushing the face of that second story, pushing it back without reducing square footage. But that's up to the applicant to figure that out.
Correct. So can we ask the applicant if they're okay with whether the frontage of that particular front room, push it back further and work with staff with that?
I don't, yeah, and if they do push back that front room, if they can make up that loss of square footage somewhere else by some other means, that's up to them.
So if the applicant is willing to reduce the size of 441 square feet, yes, as a result, the second story would become smaller, giving them the chance to push it back. So I feel like if we are asking them to push it back and asking them, I mean, those two go hand in hand, and the applicant has already expressed that he is willing to do that.
Okay.
Commissioner Hocas is trying to tell us that if we push the front bedroom back and they pick up square footage somewhere else, he's okay with it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So
this is Commissioner Redholz. Can I throw another ember onto the fire? Are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? I have a problem with the fact that 50% of the front elevation is the garage. I don't like that at all.
Yes, and that is one of the recommendations that they are willing to redesign with. So just to reiterate, we could ask that the applicant follows the 4 recommendations that are in the staff report that I went over earlier. And in addition to that, reduce the 441 square feet with the tie of pushing the house back a little more on the second floor to create an even bigger break. So if that's something that, that's kind of what I'm getting from this conversation.
Okay. So
I'm good with that.
Okay. I'm good with that. Okay, so do we have a motion? Is the owner okay with it?
Before we go to that, we still have 2 motions on the floor.
Right.
So they either need to be rescinded or taken off, or
I withdraw my substitute motion.
Okay, and Chair Hagan, before we proceed with the motions, did you want to hear more from the applicant, or are you done hearing from the applicant?
No, if he wants to say something, go ahead, please, by all means.
¿Te quiere decir algo lo que están diciendo?
Pues yo estoy dispuesto a recorrerles el cuarto y si me dejan lo que ya tenemos ahorita, o quieren que se reduzcan las dos cosas, el cuarto para atrás y los 400 pies.
He says he's with agreement with pushing the front room back. And if that's okay with you guys, leaving it as is, just pushing it back, or also reducing the 441 square foot.
Okay.
Do you want to, it seems like we're okay if he can push the room back, and if he need to pick up the square footage, I think we're okay with that.
Pues sí, y se necesita, ¿cómo se llama? Agregarle
Hello?
Cuadrados.
Oh,
he's explaining
it.
We're all frozen.
This is Commissioner Redholz. What are we thinking about the front porch?
Agreement. ¿Qué estamos diciendo con lo de enfrente del porche?
I don't know. I may not be.
Vamos a bajarlo al nivel del garage.
He's stating that the porch, he's going to lower it down to the level of the garage.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Redholz, do you have any questions?
Yes. Well, I'm just, it's hard to say without seeing it, but, if he's willing to work with us and willing to listen to, the suggestions and the staff bullet points, I'm willing to, continue it and have him bring back something else. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to support that. I want to see what it is first.
Okay.
Okay. So we have okay, so
Hocas has withdrawn his substitute motion. So the motion you have on the floor is Commissioner Redholz's motion to continue the item to a date uncertain to allow the applicant to work with staff on a revision to the project in accordance with staff's recommendations and the direction given by the commission tonight.
There you go. Is there a second to my motion?
I already seconded that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, Kennedy seconded it. Okay.
Yes.
And
okay.
This is Commissioner Arquez. I believe that motion, I would like to offer an alternative that to propose the terms of the first motion and add to it the I guess conditions that the applicant is agreeable to in terms of setting back the second floor and being agreeable to a potential reduction in square footage as staff cited. And that would be so.
Well, this is Commissioner Redholz. I mean, it sounded like he was willing to, take our suggestions. I think he knows what we want.
Yeah, he does.
And I'm willing to let him come back to us, with what he wants to put in front of us again. He knows where we're at on this.
Yeah, he does. I just for the record, I think that your motion was basically, we didn't want it to be just the staff recommendation. We wanted to add to it what he is agreeable to. That's all.
I think the city attorney expressed that.
Oh, okay. All right. I just want to make sure that, it goes that way.
She can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what she said.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to do, commissioners.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. We're on the same page.
Chair Hang, if I may.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to see if I can clarify, to get clarification regarding the motion. Commissioner Redholz, would you like to have the applicant go through the normal process and consult with the design review commission first before going to the planning commission, or going straight to the planning commission with the redesign?
I would prefer to come straight to the planning commission, eliminate that middle move, just come right back to the planning commission.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners will need a roll call vote.
Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second. So we do a roll call.
Yeah.
Staff, can you read resolution number?
It's not a number, is it? Or...
I'm sorry, there is no resolution number.
No,
it's just a continuance.
Just a continuance.
Being continued.
Thank you. That's correct. That's correct. We're continuing to the.
Just a roll call.
Just a roll call. To continue this.
Commissioner Redholz.
Aye.
Commissioner Jaquez.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Is Vice Chair Holtz on the line?
No.
Vice Chair Holtz is absent. And Chair Hang.
Aye.
Okay, let the motion show that the vote is 4-0 to continue the item to a date uncertain.
Thank you, applicant. Good luck. We'll see you in the future with hopefully a design we can love.
Okay, so do you want to wait until the applicant?
Chair, you can proceed.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're going to go to item number 2, which is besides plan number 20-03. It's a conditional use permit number 20-05, category exempt. Applicant Asef. Good. I'm sorry.
Something.
Guys. Location is 901 North Sunset Avenue. Because the applicant is requesting for a precise plan and conditional use permit to allow for the construction of a 905 square foot car wash / equipment room, expansion of the convenience store within a portion of the existing mechanic shop, a 190 square foot office and restroom addition, and a 925 square foot additional fuel pump canopy. including 2 additional dispensers and additional fuel tank storage tank on a 20,900 square foot parcel with an existing gas station. And our staff will begin the report. We're hearing from Camille.
Good evening, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm Camelia Martinez, assistant planner. I will be presenting today's presentation. Sorry. Okay. Is it not showing? Oh. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we'll be talking about Precise Plan 2003 and Conditional Use Permit 2005. The subject site is at 905 North Sunset Avenue.
Oh.
It is currently zoned as NC Neighborhood Commercial. The lot size is 20,900 square feet, which is around 0.48 acres.
Excuse me, Camila, it's 901, isn't it, North Sunset?
I'm sorry, that's a typo. You're correct. It is 901 North Sunset Avenue.
Okay.
So for Precise Plan 2005, it is a request to propose a car wash and an additional fuel pump canopy, and then the Conditional Use Permit 2005 is to request to allow the upgraded operation of an auto service station, including the proposal of an accessory car wash. The gas station was initially approved in 1964 through UUP 93, which was our old conditional use permit label. A Healy tank was approved through Planning Director's Modification 08-27, which we now call a minor site plan review. Currently, the site has a 1,200 square foot mechanic shop, a 400 square foot convenience store, and a 1,445 square foot fuel pump canopy, which includes 4 dispensers. This is the existing site plan. You have the landscaping here, as well as 12 parking spaces, including 2 accessible parking spaces. In red, you have the Healy tank, and then the existing fuel canopy. In pink, you have the 400 square foot convenience store. In yellow, you have the 12,000 square foot mechanic shop.
1,200 square feet, isn't it?
Yes, 1,200 square feet.
Yeah.
So in the proposed site plan, you have in green the proposed landscaping. In the corner in brown, you have the new trash enclosure. In red is the existing Healy tank, which will not be moved. It will stay in its current location. Then you have the existing pump canopy and the new pump canopy. And then you have 7 parking spaces with 1 accessible parking space. As well as a reduced square footage of an 800 foot mechanic shop and 103 square feet of office. And then you have the 800 square foot convenience store, which was expanded. And then lastly, you have the new car wash with the storage room. I took photos this morning of the existing site. It's not very clear because there were cars parked, but you can see the existing pump canopy and then the existing building in the background. Going through the proposed elevations for the service station first. You're going to see the east elevation on the right-hand side, where it says the food mart, that is where the convenience store will be, and it will be at a height of 18 feet. And then it tapers down to the mechanic shop, which will be at a height at 12 feet. Same thing, just the other direction of the west elevation. You can see the two roll-up doors there, and then continuing is a convenience shop. I'm still sticking to the 12 feet and the 18 feet. And then you have the north and south elevation of the service station, which you can see includes the awnings, as well as the new facade. As far as a car wash for this south and north elevation, it will be at max height of 16 feet. And this will be at both ends there. For the new pump canopy being proposed, it will be at 13 feet. And it will be 2 new dispensers. As far as the conditional use permit for the upgraded operation of the gas station and the car wash, the gas station and convenience store will be open 24 hours. The mechanic shop will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the car wash will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Is that 7 days a week for the mechanic shop? This is Red Holtz. The applicant can answer it later.
The applicant can clarify that for us later.
Okay.
I just have the hours of operation.
Yeah.
It seems to be missing a slide, but my last slide was staff recommendations to approve resolutions of Precise Plan 2005, 2003, and Conditional Use Permit 2005. If the commission has any questions, the applicant is here virtually, and I am here to answer any other questions that you may have.
Okay, Commissioner. The owner, would you like to say something about your project?
Chair Hang, now
Yes.
it's appropriate to see if the commissioners have any questions of staff before we open the public hearing.
Okay, go ahead. Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff?
I have no questions. This is Red Holtz. No questions of staff.
Okay.
Hearing none, Chair Hang, you may open the public hearing and see if the applicant wishes to speak.
Okay, so we're opening up to public hearing. So the applicants, are you here? I can't see anything on my screen.
Yes, my name is Atabak Yousefzadeh. I'm the architect for the project, and I have the owner, Sam Gerges, with me, and we are here to answer any question that you might have.
Chair Ying, I have a question for the applicant.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand in your, in your business plan, you operated was it a service station in Covina? And if so, where was that and how long did you have that?
It's actually in 300 North Azusa.
Do I see?
And it's in West Covina.
Oh, he's currently operating in West Covina?
Yes.
Okay. 300 North, what kind of a station is that?
It is actually an ARCO station.
Oh.
The one on
Susan what?
Workman. So one on Susan Workman.
Oh, right there. Oh man, that goes back to Richfield.
Yes.
Yes, the cheapest gas.
That goes back a long way. That architecture goes back to the 60s.
Yes.
Wow.
And actually.
Okay. Oh, you operate that one. Okay.
Yes, he's the #1 sales taxpayer in the city. I just want to mention that.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. How long has he owned that station?
Yeah, he's owned that for the last since 2011.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So he's going to keep that one, and this would be a second one, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he's had this one, the new one, for 6 months?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I think
All
that,
right.
you know, as an architect, I think that would be an upgrade, you know, to modernize the building. And it would be much more of an asset for the city, because I think the elevations and the renderings speak for themselves. I think it would be a much better building than what it is now.
And
Okay.
while I've got you, the mechanic hours, is that 5 days a week, 6, 7? What is that?
6 days a week. That was my, I'm the architect. That was my mistake. It's only 6 days a week.
6 days. So Monday through Saturday, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay. Does any other commissioners has a questions for the owner?
I have one other quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. The mechanic, is that somebody you're subleasing to, or are you going to operate that also?
That individual is going to be subleasing, and he's been there for the last, I believe, 15 years.
Okay. 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 Very good. And, you know, when I was out there the other day, it looked like the signage at the corner, the arco, looked like that was just covering up the old sign. Is there a plan to update that and, put a permanent sign in there?
Yes, sir. Since
Okay.
the conditional use permit has not been approved, we were not allowed to expose the sign. So we are waiting for the conditional use permit to be approved.
Oh, okay. Understood. Understood. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does other fellow commissioners has any other questions about owners or staff? Okay, it seems like we don't have any other questions, so I'm gonna open for public hearing. Anyone? City Clerk, do we have any emailed or calls?
Good evening, Chair. We have no emails or phone calls regarding this project.
Okay, I guess we're gonna, since there's no one to speak for or against the project, we're gonna close the public hearing and open for discussions. Commissioners?
Chair Hing, I'll go first if you like.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
This is Red Holtz. You know what? Let me tell you that I think this is an outstanding improvement to that corner. You know, that particular station's had 2 or 3 different brands over the years, and if you look at the design of this, it is very modern and very updated, and I think it'll probably be the best looking service station in the city. I mean, bar none. I love the design. I like the idea that we're adding another canopy and more pumps. I like that we're doubling the size of the convenience store, and we're still, unlike other convenience store operators with with gas pumps, they no longer offer service. This station is a hybrid. He's going to offer an 800-foot convenience store, and he's still going to service vehicles, which is a bygone era that I'm sorry that it went away. But this is really kind of bringing it back, and I would like to see perhaps others consider bringing, service bays back instead of relying on dealers or other shops. But I am thrilled about this. I think it's going to improve that corner in the area of the city, and I'm excited to go ahead with it. Those are my comments.
Okay. Any other commissioners' discussions?
Yeah, I'll go. Commissioner Kennedy here. Yeah, I know the gas station well. We go to church next door. Great improvement. I think it's beautiful. I love the car wash. I think that gas stations have been blighted for years, and I want to say thank you for stepping up and remodeling it. Good job. Thank you.
Good job. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot the car wash. That's great. It's a car wash, service, and convenience store and gas pumps. I mean, my gosh, it's all right there on that corner.
Yes.
Yes.
This is Commissioner Hacker. I definitely want to congratulate you for a very quality redevelopment of this site. It's going to be a great credit to our community, with especially with the added services that are going to be provided. So thank you, like other commissioners have said, for stepping up with this project. Congratulations.
Wonderful. So we're gonna have a great gas stations, and
Commissioners, we need you to take action.
I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve. That's action.
I'll second that.
Is
Okay,
that
so we
action?
have
That's
a
good.
motion. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call, since staff need to read resolution number.
Resolution number, yeah.
Okay, the resolution number for the precise plan number 20-03 is resolution number 20-6043. The resolution number for the conditional use permit approval resolution is resolution number 20-6044. And roll call, go ahead and start with Commissioner Redholz.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Jaquez.
Aye.
Chair Hang.
Aye. We have 4-0.
And
this action, go ahead. I'm sorry. This action is final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days.
Congratulations, sir, and thank you so much for improving that corner for us. We're looking forward to it.
I would like to thank the city and obviously Ms. Martinez for all the help. She was really on the top of it, and I couldn't find a friendlier city to do a project. And I've been doing this for 30 years. I want to thank all the commissioners and the city for helping me getting this project done.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. That's great. Great to hear. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, our last item on the agenda is non-hearing items, and this is a study session which is affecting citywide, and it's a design guidelines for wireless telecommunication facilities in the public right-of-way. And who will be doing, will be here staff report right now.
I think it's Joanne, I think.
Yeah, she's setting up right now with a computer.
Okay. Very cool.
Yes. Since we're waiting right now, I know it's really difficult for city residents to contact us or come into the planning commissions due to the COVID-19. So if you have any, or if you want to have a discussion, so what have you, can they still call in, or they had to email in before 6:30? So, okay, so yeah, so if you need also in the future, if we're doing Zoom, can they, when they come in, do they need to contact you for information as well? Assistant City Clerk? We're trying to maneuver through this type of new meeting through the COVID-19, and I am learning as well as everyone else, as well as probably our residents that needs to also know how to contact us if they want to have a discussions.
Good evening, Chair. This is Assistant City Clerk Lisa Sherrick. Instructions for how to participate in the meeting are listed on the agenda. We do ask that residents who wish to submit comments or be on the line to address the commission do so by a certain time. That allows us to be able to log them into the meeting and get them registered with the the meeting function that they're able to then be able to participate in the meeting.
Okay. So since this is the item on number 3 item on the agenda, I just want to ask, do they still need to call in before 6:30, or can they call during public hearing or open floor to the public for comments? Since we're doing a Zoom, I'm not sure how this is going to work. This is just, we're getting a feel of how this is going to go if we were to do this in the future.
Yeah, this is a study session.
Yes, they would.
I'm sorry. Yes. Go ahead.
They would still need to have called in before 6:30.
Okay. All right. And then they still need to wait until this time to have a discussion, or they do the discussion prior to this agenda?
No, they would need to wait until this time, till the item.
Okay. So everyone needs to call in regarding any agenda items to be on the Zoom or have a discussion prior to 6:30.
Yes, just like if it was a commission meeting.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
This is Joanne. And just to clarify that we do have, I believe, 1 or 2 callers on the line regarding this particular item. They had contacted me ahead of time wishing to participate on this discussion, and I provided them with the Zoom call-in information.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, good.
I am trying to learn as well as everyone else.
Okay, so this item, the next item is a study session for design guidelines for wireless telecommunication facilities in the public right-of-way. I'll go ahead and start off with a bit of a background. The current design guidelines for wireless telecommunication facilities in the public right-of-way was first adopted by the Planning Commission in April of, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be April 2019. I wrote 2020 there. On April 2019, following the Supreme Court ruling stating that cities are allowed to regulate aesthetics, and also following the FCC order. Then on July 23rd, 2019, 5 administrative use permit applications for small wireless facilities in the public right-of-way was submitted. And the Planning Commission had reviewed this application and approved the AUPs. And this decision was appealed to the City Council on August 5th, 2019. The City Council voted to overturn the Planning Commission's decision and deny those AUP applications. At that time, when the Planning Commission reviewed the AUP applications, keep in mind that the design guidelines were approved by the Planning Commission, but were not reviewed or approved by the City Council. In this particular item, when we do revise the design guidelines, the plan is to go to the Planning Commission first and also go to the City Council afterwards. So that would avoid any misunderstandings or so that it would clarify that that whatever we have documented that we're providing potential applicants is what the hearing body has approved and reviewed. And on November 26th, 2019, and also January 28, 2020, the Planning Commission held public hearings regarding a code amendment addressing wireless facilities in the public right-of-way. The Planning Commission approved the item and recommended that the City Council approve the code amendment. The code amendment was then reviewed by the City Council, and the ordinance was adopted in May 2020. And part of that amendment and part of processing wireless facilities in the public right-of-way is also the second part would be to adopt or revise the design guidelines that we currently have so that it's consistent with the newly adopted code. This is a study session. So if any of the commissioners have any comments, and I'll go ahead and ask for feedback as well, feel free to speak or voice your opinions. This in the staff report, or part of the as an attachment to the staff report, staff provided sample design review guidelines from the cities of El Monte, Costa Mesa, and San Dimas. The city of El Monte's design guidelines I believe were very helpful because it has photographs and examples of certain things that they are willing to approve and consider. Costa Mesa's design guideline has a list of preferences, while the city of San Dimas's design guidelines is a little bit similar to what we have, which is just a page that is more simple and straightforward. Staff's recommendation is to adopt a format where it's still simple and straightforward, but at the same time provide photographs of examples that staff or that the commission or staff is willing to approve. As far as format is concerned, does the Planning Commission have a specific format in mind regarding a design guideline?
This is Red Holtz. I like San Dimas myself. Is that what you're talking about? Format?
Yes. So
Okay.
you prefer a simple one-page?
I prefer it very, very simple.
Okay.
Because when you start getting into the weeds, you run into some trouble. As long as it's simple, understandable, and direct, and the public and the applicants or vendors can understand it, it makes everybody's job a lot easier.
I think this is a great opportunity, since it's a study sessions, to look at all the guidelines and to look at also what we can do for best for our city. Besides the simplicity, we also need to hopefully, since it's affecting the entire populations of West Covina's residents, mainly probably over 30,000 residents and more businesses, commercial area. So we should look at all, or at least some of the best guidelines that they have, and hopefully adapt. We can pick and choose what type of guidelines that we can work with as well. I think the combinations of what they have and what we can also come up with as well.
Okay, we'll go over the content in the next few slides. But as far right now, we're discussing the format. And Commissioner Redholz stated that he prefers a simple format. Do any of the planning commissioners agree that a simple format is desirable, or?
Yeah, Commissioner Hackett strongly agreed. Simple format is possible.
But I think the Costa Mesa one is more detail related. For example, if you're looking at a light pole, it's one thing, and then you're looking at like a trees and a landscaping area, it's another thing. And then there's also different areas for antennas on top of buildings. How should that? So they kind of cover every little, not every little aspect, but most of the products, or what can these things be installed on? I think like I said, a combination might be best, or at least we're doing a study right now, so we'll figure it out. Yeah. Versus we can't blanket just everything on a light pole, because some area may not have a light pole or a telephone pole. It may be on top of a building. How do we handle that? Versus on top of a signs, how do we handle that portion? Overall heights in a different area, whether it's telephone poles or whether it's on top of a building. Should it stick out, 20, 30 feet, or only 5 or 10 feet from a building? So these are, I think if we look at it, also need to look at we don't have, it's a study session, so it doesn't have to be tonight, done deal type of thing. We can continue this as well, but at least we have a discussion, talk about it to see where and what's best for our city at a different area and different, whether it's for buildings, signage, light poles, lamp poles, telephone poles. These are things that we can, talk about, and hopefully when we open the discussions to the public for comments, it's difficult with the COVID-19, but as we work through it, and hopefully we can come up with something that is because it affects everyone, not only commercial area and how it looks and all that. And we do at least I like to get people, residents to get involved, whether it's commercials, residentials, or business owners, apartment buildings or what have you, see what we can come up with, the best ideas for everyone. So.
I have a quick question. This is Red Holtz. In looking at least at San Dimas, I don't see anything where it talks about putting these things on a building or a structure. It seems to all be related to, some kind of power pole. Am I missing something there?
Hold on, am I on mute? Okay, so for San Dimas's and with our current design guidelines, we're looking. The way it's written, it's focusing on small wireless facilities in the public right of way. However, the design guidelines should be more in depth because there are other wireless facilities in the public right of. There are also other wireless facilities that can be put in the public right of way that are not small cell sites. The location may be very limited because these sites require more room and space, but it's not something that's totally. It's not something that is prohibited from being submitted.
Okay, so this is far beyond small wireless. This is all wireless.
That's correct.
Okay. That makes a difference.
I don't believe that we have buildings that is in the public right of way, but we do have buildings that are on city property, but that would not be, I don't believe, would be covered under this particular ordinance. But there are structures other than light poles that are in the public right of way that certain antennas can be attached to as well. And later on in the presentation, I'll go ahead and show photographs of certain examples of those light poles or the poles or just wireless facilities in the public right of way in general. But the thought was, if the Planning Commission wants a simpler format, we would have like a page for each type of facility, whether it's a page for small wireless sites or a page or two for a wireless telecommunication facility that's not a small wireless site.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's my preference.
Yes, and also there in Commission Chairwoman Heng mentioned that Costa Mesa's guidelines, and in Costa Mesa's guidelines, they're providing a list of preferences for certain parameters or design. Does the Planning Commission wish to provide preferences as well in the design guidelines? I would like to hear from all the Planning Commissioners regarding this.
This is Commissioner Jaquez. Just to clarify your question, preferences and also in terms of order preferences?
Yes, order of preferences.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I have the idea of order of preferences, so that it's so that it can progress logically to what is available out there. So I'm in favor of that.
I think that it's really good to look at because there's certain area that we had really busy streets versus there's certain area that we have, you know, the streets and the preference. If we were to let all vendors know that what type of preferences we have, that would be great as well. So, and then also I wanted to let you know that these are El Monte, Costa Mesa, San Dimas. Since this is a study session, we are not limited to only those 3 cities. This is just sample cities. So if you have something that you like to add, delete, or, you know, talked about, you can also bring in as well. And that goes with future, you know, discussions with all residents. And you know, I like to talk a lot about residents. I mean, part of the reason is in commercials. This is affecting all residents area, and also whether it's a front yard, backyard, side yard, or commercial building area as well. If you know, it's important to involve all the people that will be involved, and this is affecting them not only. You know, yes, because of COVID-19, and yes, they're not here most of the time, but this code will be here forever. And if we don't make changes that often, it could be another 25 years before that happened again.
Can I ask a question of the chair? What you just said, front yard, backyard, side yard. What was that a reference to?
I'm referencing public right of ways. Some residents have an alley, and I'm not sure how much of public right of way that, you know, traditionally land use, it's a little bit different for everyone in terms of your lot size and where you're at and where the public right of ways most are located. Most are located in the front, but some has also side as public right of way if you're a corner lot. And some had 3 corners. If you are hit with the front, the sides, which is, you know, and then also the back with a driveway. I've seen some in West Covina, but not. There's some pocket area. I'm just saying that, you know, when we're designing this and which is affecting all city and all land use, we also need to take a look. It's a study session, so we take a look at what we can't and what will everyone be affected, and whether, because, you know, Glenn Kennedy's home may not be the same as in terms of lot situation as yours, Commissioner Redholz, versus from everybody. So that's what I'm talking about. And then public right of ways is quite interesting how, to us, traditionally, public right of way is between the land of where your front yard is and between the sidewalk. Sometimes there are 2 areas. You have the public right of way, you have the sidewalk and public right of way, then your lot starts. So everyone has a little bit of different. Some don't have a sidewalk at all, but that doesn't mean that the public right of way is not there. It may be there, but the sidewalk's not built yet as of date. So I don't know. And regarding public right of ways, like city-owned land, is that public right of way too? Because city do own quite a bit of land as well. So when we're making these design guidelines or study sessions, it's affecting 100% of land uses in the city of West Covina. So we should, you know, look into it, study it. I'm sure this is not going to be the first time. We have a discussion, we talk about it, and we can bring it back. And hopefully we can involve more residents, or who knows, we've been talking about this for a while now.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm ready for Joanne to continue. If
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't hear from Commissioner Redholz regarding the order of preference list, and also Commissioner Kennedy regarding the order of preference list.
Order of preference by city, you mean? I mean, I'm a little confused.
No, like for instance, if you can refer back to the Costa Mesa design guidelines, they have an order of preference. Like for instance, they prefer it not to be in residential near in the residential area. They prefer it to be first in commercial areas. In residential would be last in their preference list, but something similar to that in.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find Costa Mesa.
like we have a stretch of the freeway. You can have a lot of it located closer to the freeway area versus that's more also commercial area as well. And also the bigger street versus the smaller streets. I mean, these are things that are, like I said, it's a study session. So we can't come up with these rules and regulations for our own city.
This is Commissioner Arquez. When Joanne, you mentioned you were asking our thoughts on order of preference, I thought you meant for type of installation.
That too. It's just that what I meant was just the format in itself. It's not the content. Just we're starting with format right now.
All right.
For example, I think
Where's Costa Mesa?
It's attachment number 5.
Costa Mesa?
It's attachment number 5.
For example, I guess one of the items would be like for find like if it's in commercial area or any area, you should put this on existing. Existing versus building a new one. Existing telephone pole or light post.
The way they're referring to in the Costa Mesa is the they're calling it hierarchy. That's
number 2.
So for instance, in the first one, they have the support structure hierarchy. They prefer it to be on existing or new replacement light standards. And then their second choice would be existing or replacement city traffic sign poles. And their last preference would be any other type of pole that the director determines meets the purpose of the guidelines. So it's just the format for the city. Does the commission would the commission like to format it in a way that provides a hierarchy of preferences?
I agree with Costa Mesa.
Okay. Commissioner Kennedy?
I don't know. I guess I could go along with Costa Mesa too. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. On the next slide, we have, I guess, a summarized version of the city's existing design guidelines, which is actually in one of the attachments. But in the city's design guidelines, we have a depiction of what would be reviewed administratively and what would require a discretionary application. And above that, in the design guidelines, there are texts describing each item. And the first item is location. And we would have to delete the location in the design guidelines because the location, as far as distance from residential is concerned, is already in the code. The exact distance from residential is already in the adopted municipal code. So we would have to delete the 100 feet from residential. However, since we had determined that the commission prefers an order of hierarchy, we can include if the commission desires, we can include it being on residential, a location for hierarchy as well, and it being on the residential be the least preferred. However, with this, the telecommunication providers will likely place or propose to place wireless facilities in an area where it's needed, and at times locating it in residential areas is not avoidable. The second point regarding the existing design guidelines is the facility and support equipment. The existing design guidelines states that we would like it to be made of aggregate or a concrete to match all existing light poles in the area for consistency. And the second point or the third point in the existing design guidelines is to be so that the shroud would be, all equipment would be enclosed within the shroud at a range in the pole. The size of the pole will be in the shroud will be at a 1-to-1 ratio, so that the diameter of the pole and the diameter of the shroud will be almost similar. And then the next item is the antenna.
Can I ask a quick question on this?
Sure.
On facility and support equipment, is this where we should put undergrounding of equipment? Should that be in there? Because it's not there now.
I like that idea.
Require that? Because the more I've studied this and the more I've looked at this, you know, I mean, I am looking for an what's the word, innocuous pole design and as unobtrusive and unimpactful to a neighborhood as possible. And, you know, to me, I don't want anything sticking out. I want that you know, the equipment, support equipment to be underground. I mean, you know, 99.99% of the time, if not 100. So I don't see that in here, and I think it should be part of that. That's my opinion.
We can address that in the design guidelines revision.
So basically, all the equipment and all has to be underground, basically.
Yes, but there are certain instances where undergrounding of equipment is not possible. Like, for instance, if they're putting in a new pole and it requires metering, the metering, there's a possibility that the metering cannot be placed underground.
Metering can be placed underground. I've seen gas meters underground. I've seen facility electrical. So I mean, we can call Edison to see if meters, you know, can be underground as well. We'll find out from the experts, basically.
Yes, but I'm just letting you know that is a possibility that underground cannot be accomplished.
Okay.
And the next item is, let's see.
Narrow vertical alignment, or?
The antennas in RRUs. So the antennas would have to be contained within a shroud and attached to the top of a pole or light pole. And
Joanne, I'm sorry, where are you reading from?
Oh, the design guidelines.
Which is on?
Yes, which is the detachment.
The page before attachment number 2. Right,
attachment number 2.
Find attachment 2. It's the one next to it on the left.
I'm trying to find number 2.
Actually, it's attached. Yeah, it's attachment number 1.
Behind Exhibit A. Yeah, if you look at Exhibit A, turn that there. It's printed on behind Exhibit A, which is left. Yeah. The page behind Exhibit A.
It's the page before attachment number 2.
Page before. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, yes. So, in the existing design guidelines, we're discouraging RRUs to be attached to the side of the pole. And as far as wires and cables, the existing design guideline states that it should be within the shroud or run inside the pole. As far as signage, it's limited to the minimum required by the government and electrical utility regulations, and should be the smallest and least visible as possible. As far as the construction approach, separate freestanding meters and pedestals should not be used. Metering should be wireless when possible, and underground if wireless metering is infeasible. And as far as the height is concerned, the existing design guidelines limits the height to 35 feet. However, in the ordinance, a height restriction has been placed in the ordinance. So that height restriction is basically no higher than 5 feet above the height of existing poles within the area. So it's not limited to 35 feet, but it's limited to no higher than 5 feet above the height of existing poles within the general area. So,
You know, the 5 feet seems pretty high because if you look at the existing lamp posts or what have you, the height of that particular one is no more, it's just a little bit before the lamp comes out. Versus 5 feet seems pretty high, so I like to reduce that to.
it's in the code that's adopted by the city council, and so the planning commission would not be able to reduce that without amending the existing code.
I see. So we rushed through the code. Right now we have to go backwards just to make that amendment versus the heights right now is basically pretty high up there. It's just a statement. Okay. I have a questions regarding locations. You know, it said located 100 foot away from properties used for residential purpose. Mm-hmm. Some city has 300 feet or so, some a little bit more.
I thought we weren't using that 100 foot.
No, because in the current code, it specifically states how far wireless facilities can be from residential properties.
Do you remember what that is? Because in the design guideline over here, some of the city also, some said 300 feet of any residential use or school. Some said, I don't know, 700 feet or so. There's so many documents I'm reading, so.
I believe it depends on the area. It was anywhere from, I believe, 30 feet from residential structures to anywhere from 15 feet to 30 feet, depending on the zoning.
Wow. So San Dimas has 300 feet from residential area or within 300 feet of any residential use or school, and some other city has 700 feet, but we have 15 or 30 feet.
Keep in mind that the design guidelines from other cities doesn't necessarily mean that they cannot put it within, like, let's say 100 feet or 300 feet from residential. That's a review trigger.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is a review trigger is like right now, this one, everything triggers. Everything does not trigger. And then also, is there limitations on how many you can put in front of, like the distance of these facilities from one another? Because some of the city requires, I don't know, 700 feet away from another facility, or can we put in our current?
In the code, it says 500 feet. So basically, the way the code is written, and 500 feet is the review trigger. So if you're proposing a wireless facility or a packet that includes wireless facilities that's at least that's closer than 500 feet away from each other, then it would automatically be a major wireless facility application. It's not going to be a minor one. So it'll automatically require a public hearing.
500 feet from each other.
Yes,
okay.
That's a review trigger or threshold.
Yeah.
In the code.
Can we go back to the second item after location? It has facility and support equipment. I believe facility shall be proposed on existing aggregate light poles. A replacement light pole should be no more than 3 feet from the existing pole location. So will there be 2 pole?
No, so the way these wireless facilities are constructed is they can't, I guess, in a period of time, in a short period of time, there will be 2 poles because the first pole, the existing pole, cannot be removed until the replacement pole is constructed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Temporary.
And then also regarding the diameters, because most of our light poles or telephone pole is not 16 inches. Most of them are either, for light poles, is 8 inches or so. It's just much smaller. Versus our telephone pole is about 12 inches, but this one is 16 inches, so it's pretty huge. So can we temporarily reduce or talk about reducing that size to match what the existing, or 1-to-1, whatever that street, because we spend millions of dollars having those lamp posts years ago, designed at a certain design, and try to make it look the same.
There are callers that are in the wireless telecommunication business that is on the line, and it's best if they address that question, because I'm not sure if they would be able to if there's any way equipment or can be provided where the diameter of the pole is exactly the same as the diameter of the existing poles in the area. They might not be able to do that.
I'm just reading. I'm sorry. I'm just reading where San Dimas, it also is a maximum of 16 inches at the base.
You're hanging, commissioners. This is a very good discussion. This is an item on the agenda, so before we forget, we might want to just open it up for public comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good idea. Okay, so is staff, are we still hearing staff report? Are you?
There's still a few more slides.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Continue then.
So, as far as the design guidelines are concerned, the existing ones, I believe I went over every single point, but we'll go ahead and go back to that later on when the meeting is open to the public for public comment. But I'll go ahead and show the examples of photographs that I have compiled. So these are different examples of various small wireless facilities. Some I've taken myself while passing by, and I've noticed that I stopped the vehicle, and some I got on the internet. So in these designs, there are, I guess there's a small cabinet with equipment that are attached to the pole. How does the Planning Commission feel about these designs?
I think we have asked to have it underground.
Okay.
The equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is another example of a different design where it's below the pole, but it's not undergrounded. But again, you mentioned that you wanted it underground. The middle example is a wood pole with an antenna on top. And the one on the right, I'm not sure if that's a small wireless site, but I was driving by on a rainy day. That's why there's a bunch of watermarks on the glass. But I happened to see this wireless facility in the public right of way, and I stopped and took a picture of it. But I'm not sure if the commission is receptive of anything like that, but it's just an example.
Yes, because the middle one, it looks like, the telephone pole, and then it has a lot of stuff on top and it looks uneven. Maybe we should have it shrouded and the size should be the same as the pole on the top as well. So it looked like just one continuous pole, 1-to-1 diameter. If you look, commissioners, we're looking at the middle pictures.
Yeah.
So we can ask them to just have 1-to-1 and not too high, because otherwise it stick out like you can see it. And to make it sure it's 1-to-1, whatever's on top on the telephone pole. Then to the left of it, if you look up to the left of it, the same issues. Do you see how on the top it's like 3 or 4 times more? I don't know how many times more than what the bottom is. So on the top, we should have a 1-to-1. Whatever the base is, we do have the 1-to-1 on top.
What's on the bottom of one? What is that big block? What is that?
I don't know.
It's
the
a
big
cabinet
block.
It looks like it's a cabinet for equipment. It's
that's
just the way
terrible.
they designed the pole.
Yeah. I don't like any of these three.
Okay. Well, they're just examples
None
that
of them.
I've seen. So.
Yeah.
And then these are 3 other examples. This one to the, I guess, left is it's a existing pole in front of a light pole in front of a house, and with shrouded antenna. The shroud is not as high, but it is a lot wider than the pole itself.
Right.
And then this particular one, it's on. This is in the city, by the way, in the middle picture. It's of a wood pole with the small antenna and equipment attached to it, and some wires that are in, I guess, in like a metal type of covering along the side of the pole. And the one on the right is just a pole on residential property. It doesn't serve any other purpose. Maybe a sign. I'm not sure if a sign is even attached to it, but it has a cabinet on the side for, I believe, the antennas.
Wow. Okay. Now the one in the middle, what street is it on?
It's on Cameron, and I'm not sure what the cross
is. That Grand or?
Yeah.
I
Grand?
think so.
Because it's actually county. You can see the blue.
Oh, okay.
Blue.
Yeah.
West Community doesn't
It is
have blue street signs, so that'd actually be county. And only part of county. Cameron is right when you get to Grand.
Yeah, it's right against the county area.
Okay, so this is county location. Thank goodness our city don't have this thing. Okay, so okay, all right. Thank you.
And
thank you again.
And the other house on the left is where Leave It to Beaver lives.
Yeah, well, they're all ugly. All 3 of them are no good to me.
And then the next slide, these are like examples that I found online. So this is, I don't believe we have any poles that are similar to this, except the ones right outside City Hall where it's a metal decorative pole. And this is an example of a design where wireless facilities or antennas are placed above the decorative poles to kind of mimic the design of existing poles in the area. The one in the middle, you see there's shrouds with little, I guess, slits or holes. These are, I believe, how the 5G antennas would, a version of the 5G antenna design. And it looks like this is on top of a wooden pole, and they put a metal cap with a metal shroud that they painted brown. And to the right is actually, I thought this design was interesting, and it just shows like different ways and different creative ways these antennas can be designed. But I found this online and I thought it was interesting because I've never seen anything like this, but it's designed like a cactus.
Yeah, yeah. That would be interesting in the city of West Covina.
Yeah. So there are ways to there may be ways to design these, like, for instance, if they wanted to put small wireless facilities along West Covina Parkway near that Rerose the Rerose facility near along that area.
Yeah.
There is a large strip there that's in the public right of way. If they wanted to put like some kind of decorative piece that looks like public art, but is a wireless facility, I don't think that's not. I think that may be feasible, but this is just an example of how creative they can get.
I also want to go back to the first picture. Do you see how if I don't know if West Covina, maybe correct me, Glenn or Commissioner Redholz, if you look at the first pictures, I don't know if we have decorative lamp, because this really, with the box in the bottom, with some equipment in the middle, and with something on top of it, really destroy if we were to have some decorative type of lamp. It's no longer look like
I think we only have that on Glendora Avenue, by the theater over there.
We can also, I think we can also prevent this from happening. We can just, say that there's no, on our decorative lamps, we shouldn't have these things on it. That's a possibility. So before they really destroy what it should look like.
Okay, so that concludes all the slides that I wanted to show the planning commissioners. So if we can.
Before we go, before we open up to the public, on the middle picture, if you look at the middle one, this is what I'm talking about. The height of it is just way taller than what the street lamp should be, and also the equipment on top of it, instead of like making it the same size as the top, like it's stack it up much bigger. So we should do it like if the telephone pole is let's say 8 feet or 12 inches, it should be 12 inches on top, or smaller, like a taper type of look. Okay, that's it. So we should, I guess, anyone?
Also, I just wanted to add that as an attachment to this staff report, I included photographs of items or photographs that Verizon had sent me, and also Crown Castle has sent me. Those were the two interested parties that I was contacted by, and I had provided them the call-in information to this meeting. I believe somebody from Crown Castle is here, but I am not sure if the Verizon representative is here as well.
Should we look at their are they going to talk about it, or should we look at the submittal that they have and talk about it?
There's sample photographs that they provided, but I think it's best if you allow them to speak.
Okay.
And
Madam Chair,
ask questions.
this is Redholz.
Go ahead.
These representatives might be able to address what you're bringing up as far as the one-to-one and all that. They might be able to address the feasibility of that and answer those kind of questions for us. So I think we should go to them.
Okay. All right. Should we, is staff complete with your reporting?
Yes, and also just to add that this is a study session. It is there was not an intention to make this a last study session. There is absolutely full intention to make this one of many future study sessions, and this is just to basically the tip of the iceberg. This is.
Do we not have one scheduled next month? A month from now?
We will have one scheduled. Yes.
Because it's on we don't have a meeting the 1st of August, but the second one, it looks like the only item on there is a study session for this.
Yes, that is correct. That it is going to be scheduled to almost every planning commission meeting, and with a little bit more items provided to the planning commission, or if the planning commission provide staff direction on certain items to research, we can also report that as well.
Okay.
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 I just wanted to add one thing too before we move on. In the staff report, attachment number 8, I hope everybody got a chance to read that. Coming soon to a neighborhood near you? ? That was full of very good information. If you haven't read it, I would take the few minutes and read that. It covers a lot of material and answers a lot of questions. So that was the most informative thing I saw in this whole tab. So that's my comment on that. If you haven't read it, read it.
Yes, the last attachment was actually an article in July's edition of the Planning magazine. So I noticed that was in there, and when I read it, it was very informative, and it answered a lot of the questions that the Planning Commission and also the City Council asked when they were considering the code amendment.
And I find it very interesting. We're all talking about 5G, but 5G ain't available. I mean, these new iPhones. I mean, according to what I read in there, you can't even get 5G.
It's not.
Maybe somebody can address that when they get on there. But
yeah, that's quite interesting too. The last time that through the submittal, they did say that, oh yeah, they need it for 5Gs. But when we asked, is there any 5G phone in West Covina? Not one of them, 0.
No, none of them.
So, but then that's quite interesting.
They're not capable of it right now.
Right, but it's quite interesting. A lot of time you hear 5GE, and everyone kind of automatically think that it's 5G, but 5GE is just a marketing. It seems like, which
that's exactly what it is. You're right.
I wasn't clear at the beginning because it was quite interesting how they came in and represent and told us one thing, and we thought it is their 5Gs, but then toward the end, they basically said, no, there's no 5G. So if there's no 5G technology, then what are they trying to do? I guess I never really got that answer.
Future.
This is Commissioner Atkins. Maybe the question that needs to be answered is...
Oh, we're just talking. Okay. Yeah, we should leave it for the experts.
Fine.
Okay.
I thought maybe the question is what is the deployment of all these small wireless relays have to do with the capability of 5G phones? Is that is it a chicken and egg thing that you can't have the 5G technology function without, at least in a wireless capacity, without the deployment of this infrastructure?
But I think 5G technology is very different from what we're currently using in the 3G and 4G. So it's completely separate from my understanding.
Well, it's going to take all new equipment, all new phones, new devices.
Correct.
Yep. Anyway, I think we should get to the public, get to those.
Okay, so should we open up? Does any commissioners or staff want to have any other discussion? Otherwise, we're going to open the floors to the public for comments.
Let's go to the public.
Mark, do we no?
At this
do you have any calls or?
We do, Madam Chair, have one representative from Crown Castle who is on the line.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, all. This is Cynthia Denise. And looking through what planning has put together, I do think that it is in alignment with the other design guidelines of the other areas that I work with, which is primarily Inland Empire. Specifically, the how it's detailing the location of preference as far as where we are allowed to install when it comes to the small wireless facilities in the public right of way. So I do think that's great, the location hierarchy. I also think that the different types of letting us know what type of install will fall under ministerial versus discretionary. I also think that also hit a lot of high points for us. The only areas of concern that I have in listening to the entire call is the undergrounding of equipment. I wasn't exactly for certain if it's undergrounding the meter or were you speaking about undergrounding I just wasn't for certain if it was the antennas that you were thinking, or was it just a meter?
I don't want to see a box. The antennas I'm fine with. I just don't want to see a box sitting, on the ground attached to a pole or attached to a side looking, taking away from the aesthetic of the design of the pole. I'm talking about undergrounding the support equipment.
Okay, so it sounds like that would mainly more or less support, that goes along with more of a street light, if we were to do a street light design. And I think that in a lot of instances, if it's a SEE street light, we do have to go along with their guidelines. But that is also still good to know. So going forward, whenever the carriers do provide us with their RF heat maps of areas that they're looking to go into in West Covina, when we do our site walks, that is good to know that we want to try to avoid doing those type of designs if at all possible.
Wonderful.
Sounds good.
To agree with what it is that we like to have. I guess, Crown Castle, since you're here, I have a quick question for you, though. This small micro system or small cell that we're trying to set up is predominantly, we're thinking in our mind, or at least in my mind, that we're doing it for the 5G. Since is there, or are there 5Gs, or are there not 5G currently? And if there's non-5G, then what are you building right now? Are you doing still the 3G, 4G that you're putting up?
Yeah, so I do recall attending those meetings, and I'm not really for certain if there was just maybe some confusion. We never were looking to install 5G. At the time for T-Mobile in West Covina, it's all 4G. So everything that we're working on right now is 4G. To my understanding, 5G does not technically exist in a lot of areas. In order to get 5G, it's all about that antenna. There are some antennas, depending on the carrier and depending on the type of install, because the carriers do use different antennas based on the area that they're trying to service. That antenna could be upgradable. It could just be a software upgrade where they just can literally do maintenance, go in, pull out a disk and pop in a new one. But everything that we're working on is 4G. So I don't have any information about when the carriers are looking to move to 5G. There are devices out there, for instance, that AT&T stated that their devices were 5G compatible. Some devices even said 5G. That was not accurate. They were actually called to the carpet on that, and they were advised that they have to take those phones and put them back to 4G because 5G doesn't exist right now.
Okay, so basically we're designing this and we're changing our codes to fit and conform to the 5G, when in reality, this is just a 3G, 4G. I mean, I'm just saying that I'm not saying Comcast, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying in my mind, when we're going through the zoning codes and the changes, we thought we're doing this for the 5G because the HIP is just keep saying 5G is coming, and we're going to change it and allow it everywhere so that we can conform to 5G. But in reality, it's 5G technology doesn't exist. So you guys are really doing this for the existing phone, existing facility, existing equipment or technology, which is the 3Gs and 4Gs.
Over time, throughout the last couple of years, when we have upgraded from even 2G to 3G to 4G, the antennas sometimes have gotten a little bit larger. Sometimes they've gotten a little bit smaller. Sometimes we will install one antenna and have maybe 2 RRUs. But this is all for these small wireless facilities. If you're speaking about macro sites where it is maybe a self-support structure or a monopole, those configurations are vastly different. The antennas obviously are a lot larger. But once again, it all depends on that area that they're trying to service and also what that current structure looks like. So if it's an area where they see that there's a significant gap in coverage and that is an area that they maybe do want to make that area 5G first, those antennas could be a little bit larger, or the antennas can be a little bit smaller, and you can just have more RRUs to support that. And you would also obviously have more coax. So to answer your question, I don't know if the code really should be written specifically to the technology. It's more about the size of the equipment. And based on the FCC order, we do want to stay in alignment with that.
So let me ask you this, since you brought up the FCC code that comes in. The FCC, when we were allowed you to have this small cell, which is not a 5G in theory, it's just a 4G, the FCC does give you, since we gave you the base, you can also increase this without the city's, what do you call it? Approval.
Permission.
Permission. There you go. I'm sorry. Couldn't come up with the word. But, so is it possible that if we're even our code limits it to, let's just say, I don't know, 35 feet. I don't know what it is, but, and you, since you had all these things in our residential zone, you can increase it because the federal government allow you to increase it, and you potentially, like you said, to upgrade it to any type of equipment, city will have no say. Is that correct?
That would fall under the 6409 code. Yeah, so that is accurate. But
that is accurate. So potentially
but
when
wait, I'm sorry. Wait, I just want to add one more thing to that. So even with the 6409, we have to stay under a certain percentage of the existing equipment. But in my experience, we don't like to just go out and swap equipment. We do like to, interact with the city and let them know that we will be doing maintenance.
Correct. I'm just saying that potentially in the future, if you need to change it to anything else, you don't need our permission anymore. We do not. We don't have a say. Correct. You can just go in and upgrade it to what the federal code will allow you to do. So that's what I'm trying to say to our commissioner is that, yes, this design is what we're approving today, but tomorrow may be completely different because of what was allowed. I don't know, I forgot how many foot high, 10% or 20%. And as long as it's, but I'm just saying that we're not really approving what we're being asked for today. Ultimately, once the base is given, once the base is given by the city, I'm just saying that once the base is given or the pole is given the location, then ultimately it's really, I know you guys may not like it, but I'm not sure how other facilities or other telecom company feel like. I mean, I'm just saying that as a city commissioners or residents, you may think that, hey, this is what was being approved and what have you, they're okay with it. But tomorrow comes, there's like, oops, we need something else. Then there it goes. And as a city,
that's not actually 100% accurate. So it is true, based on the FCC order, it is something called the 6409, where we can go in and make changes to the existing equipment, but it does have to fall within the guidelines. For instance, one of the guidelines is it cannot be greater than 10% of the total height of the antennas that are there, or we can't just increase the overall space. We still have to stay within that 3 cubic feet per antenna. But the likelihood of that is not that great. And once again, if we do have to do that, we wouldn't be able to go under 6409. We would have to go back and complete another new application.
Okay.
Chair, if I may add to this discussion. It is true that the federal government does limit the city's purview regarding increasing the height to a certain limit. However, if let's say there's an existing wireless facility and they wanted to upgrade the antennas or which would essentially increase the height and it would comply with that percentage, it does not necessarily mean that the city is not allowed to review it. An application still has to be submitted, although that application may be ministerial, but an application still has to be submitted that staff will be required to review to determine whether or not it complies with the federal law, and also to determine whether the existing this existing stealthing will remain in place. So we do review it as far as the design is concerned, to see whether or not the existing stealthing is still being accomplished with the proposed increase in height. But they are allowed by federal law to increase the height by a certain percentage.
But City Attorney, I have a quick question though. Since I know the new codes that came, not code, a court case that came out regarding aesthetic, can they change it in the future to a point that the aesthetic portion is not being considered because they have the federal law behind them? Maybe that's I'm sorry. Okay, maybe we should end this at the end portions and we'll just ask, we'll just open the floor to the public for now. Sorry, does anyone else has a questions for our Crown Castle?
And also, I'm sorry, I would like to also add, there have been instances where there are existing wireless facilities in the city where revisions or changes have been made or antennas have been upgraded to those existing facilities in the public right-of-way. And an application was submitted, and in these instances, staff had approved it, but before approval, we had sent it. We had sent a copy of the plans or we posed some type of question to the city attorney's office to make sure that it is within the federal standards, and that has happened several times in the past. And I just wanted to point that out, that it's not something that is automatically just approved. They do go through a process, and it is checked.
I mean, even if it's, I agree that they are going through a process and they have to come to the city and what have you, just to let you know that, hey, this is what we're going to do, but they're going to do it anyway.
Chair Hang, we can certainly review that further and bring that back.
Correct. So we just have, I'm sorry. Okay, yes. We just make sure that right now we stay with make sure that the floor is open to the public and we just talk about the comments.
And the proposed guidelines.
Okay. Castles, are you still there? Do you have something to add? I mean, it's really a delight and very informative.
Oh, I'm sorry. I may have missed the question.
Oh, I'm just asking to see if you have anything else that you'd like to add. It's very.
Oh, no. I
Okay.
do definitely appreciate all the work that was put into this by planning. Like I said before, it's definitely in alignment with the other cities as far as the location sitting of the preferred location, and also the type of installation. It's best for us when we go through our process of working with the carriers. We have site walks and desktop reviews, and it's great to know what the city wants and kind of what they don't want, and what are some things that we possibly can talk further about. So I think this is a great start.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for giving us a great.
Chair, if I may, I'm sorry, Cynthia. Earlier in the discussion, Commissioner Hang asked regarding the width of the existing poles, if there's any way that you can construct a wireless facility on top of a pole where it's matching the width of the existing pole and it's no wider than the existing pole. Is that something that you can address at this moment?
Yeah, I can try. In my history, there have been some instances where we would just propose to place the antenna pole top, and it was an ISO, of course, and so the city came back and stated, can we make it a little bit more pretty? And so we did. We were able to place, and that was in Brea, actually, we were able to place the RRUs on side of the antenna, and then we did put a shroud. On one of the installs, there was a little bit of like maybe a 1/2 inch overlap lip, but it wasn't visible when you were, you literally had to be up under the pole looking up. So address that, answer that question, we do everything humanly possible to try to get a seamless design. So it's pretty. You can't determine if you're looking at the shroud into the pole. It's all pretty seamless. We match the color. So it all just really depends on the carrier. It always goes back to the carrier. But I will say that we do have a really good design team. And once we let them know what we're trying to accomplish, they do go the extra mile to accomplish that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for that. It's great to hear that the telecommunication company would work with city staff and city and also residents to make our city pretty, not just, what it is that you wanted to put in there as well. So I really appreciate that you can accommodate what it is that we want, and it is possible that you can do that. Also, if I can get, since you had something done in Brea, which is not too far from here, I like to see that. I don't know if you have one that's mentioned. If you can find it, I'd like to see, because I'm in Brea often as well. So I'd like to see if I can drive by one of your projects.
Okay, I'll get that for you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, do you have anything for our Crown Castle, Cynthia? Glenn?
Cynthia, are you ready, willing, and able to do business in West Covina?
Wonderful.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Good. Who's next?
I guess, do we have anyone else for?
That was the only speaker,
That's the only speaker
we had on this matter.
Okay, so we in public comments, or
there's no emails?
Okay.
She answered the. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Who has the question?
I said she answered the question I was going to ask about the shroud and the 4-inch diameter. But she said she can get it within a half inch. That's great. That's awesome. That eliminates a lot of stuff right there.
Yes.
It really does. In my book. So that was good. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess we end public comments and have a discussions, or how do we want to do
Well,
this?
it's a study session, so, does staff have enough information? Based on the study session?
The staff doesn't have enough information. We can go back. We can get back to the Planning Commission at the next meeting. But if the Planning Commission has further items that they want staff to research, we'll definitely take note of that as well.
Okay. I actually like, since we're here, the attachment that you had. Can you go briefly over to see where you get them? Attach them, I think number 6.
6?
In your package. What was submitted? It didn't have a page. It's just attachment number 6 toward the end.
Okay.
Well, Cynthia submitted a few photographs
after Coast to Coast,
and also of their designs or standards, standard arm mounts that they have, and also I also attached a slideshow or PowerPoint that they provided me in the past as well.
Okay, can we go through that, like the concealment arm? This for OC is it OC Crown Castle? After the Costa Mesa.
Yes, it's by Crown Castle. I'm not sure if Cynthia still is on the line.
But no. I'm sorry. No, we just we end the public comments already. We just want to go through what the attachment that we have right here.
Okay. They're just examples
among the commissioners.
Okay.
It's a discussion among the commissioners. So, like attachment number 6, you see that it's after the Costa Mesa guidelines.
Yeah.
What?
You're talking about the standard arm mount? What do you?
Yeah,
that
I think
first
that's
picture.
what she wants.
All right. I don't like it.
Joanne? Oh, are you looking for it? Attachment number 6?
Yes. I have it on in front of me, but you wanted to see how the other commissioners feel about it.
Well, we can have a discussion about it since we have the attachment in front of us right now in terms of what was submitted.
Okay, so the first one is a standard, according to the text that was provided, is a standard arm mount that's attached to, it looks like a wood pole. And it has, I guess, descriptions of what the canisters look like and what it entails. So it looks like it's an antenna protruding out on a wooden pole within a shroud.
Put me down for I don't like this.
Okay.
I don't like this at all.
And also it looks like there is a box there that's attached to the pole as well that serves the facility.
That's what I don't want to see in West Covina.
Yeah. No, not even close.
Not even close. I can't hear. Sheena, turn your mic on.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you hear? Oh, the humming is gone. Okay.
Yes, I can. Yes,
So
I can.
the concealment, it looks like the concealment arm is similar to the standard arm mount, but it's just a different design and look altogether.
So that's something that we probably don't want to see. And then,
well, if I may, these look like old-fashioned telephone poles with an appendage on it. You know, I mean, you see all the wiring up top there and all the equipment up top. I mean, we don't even have these practically in the city, I don't think.
We have
maybe down Grand Avenue.
I believe we have a few of them, but now that as far as development is concerned, we require development to be to have underground and utilities. So it's disappearing little by little.
I think also, Joanne, the area that you were talking about, you thought it was City of West Covina, is actually belong to LA County. So that part of town is not City of West Covina.
No, it's not.
I believe it was in the border because it was in the map, that location map that I was provided by engineering. So
it's on the border.
It may be West Covina mailing address, but it's county services. Is that better?
Yeah, thank you.
The corner of Grand and Cameron is county.
Yeah.
It's maybe West Covina mailing address, but it's county services.
So I just want to make sure that we as a city do not have this type of system in our city. Not approved by a city, but it belongs to county area that's approved by LA County.
We actually do.
We actually do. Okay, we should look at them.
Yes. One of them is a very prominent one on Vincent that I've shown photographs of it before.
Yeah,
okay. All right. We should look at
Vincent and Swanee. It's horrible.
I'm glad that they're facing out. Okay, all right. And then I guess this, the following page has the palm tree and the pole. Can you?
So it looks like it's again a wooden pole with a shroud on top. With an antenna shroud on top. So the design and dimensions of it is in the next page in the back.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Ain't too pretty.
And then the next I guess item is a PowerPoint slide that they had submitted, and it was a similar slide presentation that was provided to the commission when the code amendment was being considered, or a study session for the code amendment was being conducted. So it's just samples, and they're just samples and types of the designs that they have. I think the first, I guess, 8 pages of this slide is on like a wooden pole, similar to what we've already looked at. But however, on page 9 is a design for a light pole that's similar to what we were discussing earlier.
This one, the one on page 9, is the most pleasing of any of them, to me anyway.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. It looks,
It's
something
innocuous. I mean, it looks like a light pole.
correct. Correct. It's very proportional.
Yeah.
It taper in the top, and then on top of that,
Yep.
the telecom company said that they can work and make it work as well.
Yeah. Yep.
And then on
Page 10 is also,
it's smaller than the pole with
correct,
antenna, but it does have equipment on the side.
right. So besides the equipment, it can be underground. That looks nice too on the top. So it's very
Yep,
small,
I
very
agree.
proportional. It's not, out of. So yes, okay.
And then the next
Yep,
few
we're good
pages
on
are
that.
just the details, the engineering details that they have. But on page 14,
Yeah.
on page 14 are also other examples. One is on a decorative pole, and one is on a light pole. The shroud is a little bit more wider, and there is equipment on.
Correct. So yeah, page 10 looks so much better than 14 or 15. How the pole is very proportional, it tapered in the proper sizes.
And then page 16 is also similar.
Correct. So okay.
And then
Very similar.
page 19, they're like standalone pole designs that have no lights.
Mm-hmm.
And same goes to page 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then on page 22 are designs for decorative poles.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's similar to to Glendora Avenue. What
Yes, it
those
is.
lights look like over there. Yeah.
But then without the attachments on them.
Right.
On the
Yeah,
wow, this is on the bottom, in the middle, on the top. It really takes away with. Okay, all
A
righty.
little too much.
Okay, we're very good.
I think we have a lot of information, so it's pretty cool.
And then on attachment number 7 is an email sent to me by the Verizon representative, and then just a couple of pictures of designs that they have deployed.
Yeah.
Attachment number 7.
Attachment number 7, yes.
Yeah.
So I believe they've deployed these designs somewhere, maybe in Orange County.
Right. That's what we don't want to see, the equipment on top, basically.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
things on top is proportional.
So on the last page of the Verizon attachment, how does the Planning Commission feel about an antenna on top of a pole the shroud is slightly larger than the diameter of the pole itself without a transition?
I think if they can make it
I don't have a problem with
taper,
that.
nice,
I don't
sir.
have a problem with it.
Which one is it? Which page is it?
There's no page number, but it's on the attachment 7.
The last one.
It's the last
Yeah.
page.
This
the
one
last
right
picture.
Yeah.
Glenn.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
I could live with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I could
fine.
live with it.
But if they can make it taper to look like similar as the telephone pole, it's even better because they have that capability.
Yeah.
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 They can make it better.
Yeah, she said they can get down to a quarter of an inch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's pretty.
If that's what they can get down to, that's the way we need to go.
Well, you know something? This is something that we haven't done before. We need to hold their feet to the fire
Absolutely.
and insist upon it. You know, the undergrounding and the tapering and all that to make it aesthetically pleasing as possible. I mean, we've kind of just not done that in the past, and I think we're all in agreement. We all have one mind on this.
Yeah.
And we
Wonderful.
got to hold their feet to the fire. They'll do it. They want to be here. They'll do it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
If you have them as little as a quarter of an inch, then
Yeah, I mean, the old saying, out of sight, out of mind. So you drive by, you don't notice that that's what you want. And I do agree, Herb, that most of this should go underground. We have an ancient technology. The technology only gets better. So I wouldn't settle for anything less.
Yep.
Okay. So does this conclude
All
our study
right.
sessions? And
Yes.
okay.
I think so.
All right. So we're moving on to commission reports, comments, and miscellaneous. Or Joanne, do you need directions from us, or you got a lot from us already?
I think she got it.
You provided excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. All right. So next is commission reports, comments, and miscellaneous items.
All right.
Do you have any?
You know what? Let me just make a kind of a general comment. Maybe if anybody's listening out there, with the COVID and all that, we're all kind of home, and I've been going out, doing a little walk, trying to get out every day, and I'm walking through the paseos, in my area, and our landscape people are doing a good job of taking care of the lawn and everything else. I would just, two things. One, I would ask our residents that are walking their dogs to clean up after their dog. That's number one. You go walk in and you see what you don't want to see. And I'm just wondering if we could talk to the council or staff or whoever I know they've done this in some parks, to put some type of signage on a pole and have attached to it some bags, receptacle bags with a sign that's, advising them to please clean up after their dog. I know we've done it in some of the parks in the city. And the paseos, I think, are considered, even though they're not counted as a park, I don't believe, they are considered a linear park. And, I think it wouldn't hurt to put some type of signage and maybe the little pickup bags or something, because it just, it really ruins the aesthetic when you're taking a nice walk, trying to get out of the house a little bit, and you're just looking at mounds of poop. Because I see some people carry it on their own, the nice people, they'll carry it and pick it up. But, there's just, I don't know what the other commissioners feel about that, but I don't know what we can do to maybe talk to, community services and see about doing that. So that's my comment.
I'm not sure what we can do. I mean, it is it's tough, especially with the COVID. And if you put bags, I mean, I'm not sure how sanitized it is if everyone is touching it and they're touching it. So I think the best practice is to pick up after your little pup.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of my comment, is to pick up after your dog.
Yeah, because especially at nighttime, there are people walking way past 10 o'clock, and I stepped on them once. It was just, and if you have a big dog, it's just awful. Just like you said, it just ruined your night. So
I can see you, Jaquez. I'm watching you.
So yes, it would be nice, especially now. You're right. A lot of people are walking. You do see more residents walking, and it's important that we pick up. Not only that, we also need to pick up all the masks and the gloves and everything that we throw on the ground, because I don't know what else is being affected besides humans right now. I mean, I know dogs and cats, but what about the animals? I mean, it's best that we try to throw things in a little trash container, hopefully.
All right, that's my comment. I don't know if anybody else has anything, but that's me.
Okay. Anyone else has a comment or miscellaneous items to have discussions right now? If not, we have Community Development Director's report.
I think the only thing I have to report tonight, commissioners, is actually two items. Next Tuesday at the City the Council will be considering the code amendment that the Planning Commission recommended regarding accessory dwelling units. That again brings the city into compliance with state law regarding accessory dwelling units. So there is a council meeting, public hearing Tuesday night. And then as far as planning commission business, there are no items for your commission meeting on August 11th. So we do anticipate canceling the August 11th meeting. And then on August 25th, as has already been noted, there will be another study session regarding wireless facilities. And that concludes my report.
Wonderful. Then.
Maybe we can all get back in the chamber by then, I hope. It's a month away, who knows?
It's tough with this computer and then the humming and echoing and everything else along the way. So we're learning and we're trying to.
I'm an optimist.
Wonderful. Me too. Hopefully we all get together and we work together. And I think if anything else, if you don't have anything else, we can adjourn. So what do? Clap on
I just want to say one thing. The city attorney's got the best background of all of you. She's out there in the park someplace, I think.
And the sun never sets
green
where
trees.
Ivy is either.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Nice seeing you, Ivy.
Nice to see you.
Same here. Good night. Thank you. So how do we?
Good night. We're done?
We're done.